Hello everyone. Welcome to my session in Microsoft 365 Saturday Madrid event. For the next 45 minutes, I will be talking to you about how to keep your Microsoft Teams under control. You may have been added to several teams already, you have multiple chats happening, and you're getting a lot of notifications that can break your focus. So this session is about how to manage your teams better, so notifications serve you and not the vice versa. So let's get started controlling your teams. My name is Vesku Nopanen, and I'm a principal consultant and Office Apps and Services MVP, and I have a strong Teams focus. I work for the company called Sulava, and I'm doing this session to you from my home at Turku in Finland. And of course, please check my blog, myteamsday.com. There are plenty of Teams related articles there, from end user to devs. And of course, you are welcome to follow me in Twitter and join my LinkedIn network. And of course, a big thank you for our sponsors who made this event possible. So, huge thanks to you. So, our agenda today is the trilogy in 4 parts and learn how to control teams better. First, we talk about the horror and haunting of Teams, all the notifications actually, that may make you lose your sleep. And we will learn how to use Teams. So it's just like using the Force, let's use Teams, Luke. And learn more about how to utilize the cone of silence to keep us more focused. And of course, at the end, I will go through some of the best practices and bag of tricks so you can take away with you and start using Teams better. So the haunting of notifications, just consider how many teams do you belong to? How many channels do you have in total? What about chats, meeting chats? How much notifications do you get? I hope you are not like this poor guy here who is getting lots of notifications that are unread in the last hour. So yeah, he's in a big trouble, so perhaps we can help him a bit. And of course, when you consider it, don't let the notifications choke your focus. You're getting pinged all the time. You're checking out, okay, what was that all about? Do I have to reply to this chat? And hey, that channel or team is mentioned all again. So that can really break your focus. So first, you get started by fixing your settings. You get the notification settings. So you kind of get the broad number of notifications tuned down. And then you can fine tune it through channels and conversation threads and so forth. But first, it's the settings. If you don't know how to get started, these settings can be found in your Teams. You just navigate to your picture here and you go to your settings and click on the notifications. And from here you can start making changes. For example, in that picture I had this personal mentions as banner. So yeah, I like to keep informed if I am being notified throughout the channels. And then on the channels, yeah, somebody's mentioning the channel. I may want to be aware about that, but I don't want an active notification. Team mentions, not so much, because people are misusing team mentions a lot. That might work in some of the teams, but actually for majority of teams, at least in the teams where I work on, the team mentions have been used too much. So usually I just turn them off. And then the chat messages. I know some people want to change this so that it is not actively popping up a banner. But on the other hand, I usually want to keep this on so I can get the notifications to my mobile as well. When you're getting a banner notification, it will also create a notification in your mobile device, and you will get the kind of active notification in there. So for example, chat messages, you can reply to them directly from the notification. Replies to conversations I started. I may want to know if there are replies and by who. But if I'm just replying to one conversation or random one, I don't want anything out of that. Likes and reactions, I used to have them kind of show in my feed, but after a while you are getting too much out of them, then off they go. Follow channels don't have enough choice here. So you have to choose one. But this is active. You activate this per channel, so you don't really have to worry about it because that there isn't an off switch here. You just put them to show them to in a feed on default. Trending off. Yeah, I don't want that noise. Team membership changes, everything like that. I just hit them off. And when you start putting these off all the time, or most of them off, then you are actually doing a lot already. This doesn't take even 5 minutes, and you are going to have so much better Teams experience than you had before. So this is the first start. It is easy when you start a new project. Go here and go through these settings with your team, for example, or with your project group. And just let them know about these and make sure they know about them. Notification sounds, okay. When I want the sound effect, it can. If I want that notification, I can get that sound. That's fine. I don't want any emails. No surprise there. And one of the notifications that is really useful is this meeting started notification. This has saved me a lot of times. If I don't look to the calendar, my Outlook may be off. It wouldn't be the first time, and I haven't really looked into calendar, and I have forgotten that I have a meeting. So when the meeting starts, there's going to be a banner pop up, and I can join in. Excellent. Somebody started the meeting. Yeah, I have to join this one. I can't get in the last minute. And of course, at the meeting chat, every Teams meeting has a chat. So yeah, I tend to keep these on mute. So this is a very good way to kind of mute or kind of reduce the noise. You don't get information or the notifications from meeting chats if somebody is asking something. If they mention you, yeah, then you will get the notification as per personal mentions. All right. So now you know more or less about the most important stuff. We haven't used even 10 minutes of this meeting yet. And so if you're in a hurry, yeah, this is the thing to do first. And this is kind of an example for you guys to take with you and start sharing the information. And remember, these are your personal settings. So admins can't set this. There's no APIs, there's no policies, there's nothing like that. Everyone has to set them by themselves. So when you boot up Teams, you should do this. If you have an onboarding process, include this in there, so people have this fixed. And something to remember, something important to remember is that you can change these. These are not fixed. You can change them daily, hourly if you want. Usually that doesn't make any sense. But if you know you have something important like well, that's not the best example, but for example, you are waiting for the team role change or something like that, then you might want to keep that on. So you can go ahead and change it for a day or something like for a short period of time, and when things are the project goes on, everything's rolled out, yeah, then you can change them back if you remember. Of course, so it's good to, if you are getting too many notifications, you know, okay, I'm getting trending all the time, perhaps you should go and check that setting. And well, I went through this already, as usual, just a recap and for the slides here. So if you put something off, it will be ignored. You don't get anything to your notification feed. And meeting chat, that's important to notice because some people really tend to chat along in those meetings before they start. And that's also a personal setting, so you may want it to be on or off. It really depends. And of course, remember your guest networks. Let's put that PowerPoint back again. And so remember the guest networks, and because you have to do these settings to every tenant. So if you are in a 5 different or extra customer networks or partner networks, so you are guesting those teams, you have to go through these settings in every tenant. However, they can and should be different. If you are not visiting that tenant a lot, you may actually want that missed activity email sent to you. So you are knowing that, okay, somebody is trying to reach me out, somebody is sending me chat messages, I want that email. So I can go back and check that. Unless, of course, you are visiting that network very often, so you know you would be already up to date about what's happening there if you are visiting daily, weekly, depending on your relationship with that partner, customer, organization. So, but consider that email part. I don't usually like getting emails, but in the notification sense, in those which I don't visit that often, that may actually make a great deal of sense. So now we have the first part done, or at least the start of the journey, the square one. We are not getting that much noise, but we can still fine tune it. So the rest of the session is more about fine tuning. The channels. Of course, there's plenty of channels and in Teams. I've heard about hundreds of channels in some organizations, or tens of channels in every team, and then you have tens or hundreds of teams, and you are in lots of trouble. But it's good to acknowledge that every channel has this notification setting. And when you go to the channel notifications, you can go ahead and change that individual channel settings. Again, that's for you. That's a personal setting. It doesn't change it for the others. It just changes it for you. And this default, back to the previous screen you saw in here, this channel mentions. This is the default setting for all the channels you have. So you can tune them up or tune them down per channel, however you wish it. And then you can also turn off and on notifications for a single conversation thread, which is per kind of a message thread. So if you are following, you want to follow a conversation you replied to, and you know your default settings are off, then you can go ahead and turn on the notifications. Or if you are just replying something somebody is asking about what's your search size, so or are you attending the after party, and everybody's replying yes, 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 and you go there and okay, yes. And then you are getting notifications every time one more person is replying to that. Instead, after putting the yes, you can go to the thread, to the first message in the thread, and turn off the notifications. So you are not getting more noise from that, because it's irrelevant to you. You already answered. So you don't have to know that if somebody else is answering. So we can take a look. So we have, for example, this crisis information channel here, and we have the channel notifications. And from here, this is the follow. Old follow is here, all new posts. Do I want to be notified every time somebody is posting a new channel, new message in the channel? I can choose per channel if I want. I can get them to my feed, or I can get a pop-up. And if I choose this on, then if there are replies, do I want to be notified about them? Yeah, it's creating more noise. But again, in case this channel is randomly used, but when it's used, you really need to stay up to date. Then you want to activate this. And of course, you may hide it as well. I'll come to that a bit later. Then you can also go ahead and change this and make it active. Then, but what is important is the channel mentions. So if somebody is using the channel mentions, hey, at feedback, we want something here. Hey, at somebody in some other channel, you get lots of channel notifications. And if somebody is misusing that, turn it off. And you are not getting any channel mentions there, and you don't get notifications. You don't get disturbed. You can still see the messages, no issues there, but you can turn it down. Or of course, if you want the banner, then you turn it up. So I really like the default setting only showing in the feed, very good one, because on the problematic channels, I can turn them off. And or if something is more important, I can turn them on. But there isn't a one setting like this for the team. So that's why my team level ad mentions are off. I don't want the notifications from there. And then if you have a kind of a conversation thread going on, it could be somewhere here, is that this is the topmost message here. I can go to the three dots and then I can turn off the notifications. If somebody is replying that, I don't get anything to my activity feed. Or if I want to follow a thread, so there are people writing there. And I've seen lots of cases when somebody is just writing, I'm following this. So I want to know the answers. And he's causing a notification to everyone who had already replied to that thread. So don't do that. Instead, turn on and off the notifications per thread. So you can follow it, but you don't have to announce it aloud unless you really have to or wish to, or there's a good reason for that. So yeah, so now you know about the channel notifications. This can turn the unwanted noise down really nicely or up if you need that. And then on the conversation thread, you can control that notification as well. Okay. Then more about Teams. Well, use the Teams look. Know how to use it. Rely on that. The first lesson is, of course, don't just take Teams as it is. Like people are getting Teams installed, they are starting to use it. You are getting into more and more Teams. There are channels, there are chats, and if you don't tune any of these settings on and off, you are not personalizing your Teams. Then you will feel overwhelmed. You will feel that kind of, hey, I can't really perform here. I'm not productive because I don't know why I'm added to the 100 teams. The list of teams is so long, I can't find anything. That's usually what happens when the onboarding process and the adoption process hasn't been taken through. And you are feeling like, hey, just because somebody is adding me to Teams, I just have to take it as it is. It is not so. So you have to know that Teams is also personal. Yes, there are team level settings and it's about teamwork. But you have to learn what of these settings you can or changes you can do that are really your personal ones. Just like in the previous screen. I tend to go back and forth a lot. The channel notifications are personal. These thread notifications are also personal. Nobody is going to know if you have been changing these. That's really a personal setting. They don't have any view to that. And the admins can't set these settings either. So make it your own. You have to learn what you can change. And of course, if you are a team owner, usually project owner, the team manager, whoever, and or perhaps you are just a team owner, a champion, helping out everyone. Know about what you can change at the team level. There are some team level settings that will affect everyone, but they will make the life more easier. And whenever you learn something new, like in this one, share these best practices to your team. Share them to everyone so that they know what is a good way to do. You have to have shared practices in your organization, and you can go ahead and decide what kind of shared practices you have. For example, that at team mentioning is not used unless there's a really, really good reason. So when it's not overly exploited, then people can keep that at team mention on. So they will know if somebody is using that, it's always relevant. Yeah, fine, it will work unless somebody is misusing that. Then people are going to be turning that at team notification off. Simple as that. So have good practices, have common practices you will follow, and then vary as needed. Of course, Windows has this focus assist feature as well, Windows 10. It doesn't affect Teams, but there's this focus mode or focused assist, and then there's alarms only mode, for example. Then you are not getting too many notifications from other software as well. For example, emails or your phone company and whatever notifications there are. I tend to have it on the important ones only or in the alarms only a lot. I noticed that I don't want the active notifications to pop up that much. Sadly, it's not tied to Teams, but there's a user force for that. Search it out and, of course, and go and vote for it, because that's a great. That would be a great feature to have. So you wouldn't have a separate notification system for Teams and then for the rest. Yeah, the silence. Of course, you want to do some control here. Status, it is more than just an indicator. Yeah, it's in a short version, it's an indicator. Hey, I'm doing something on my computer or I'm appearing away. All right, but that's more. There's more to that. The custom status message can give out more details, like why I'm busy, or why I'm in a do not disturb mode, or when I'm coming back. So you can relay some information, and of course you have to, or you can adjust people's expectations. Especially if you're, well, the way is one thing. It's a great thing, like I'm appearing that I'm away, I'm not at my computer, and actually I am working on my computer, but people are expecting that, okay, he's not there, so he won't reply. So they won't send me a chat message. They are still in a Skype for Business era, and they want the online answer. So yeah, that may they are not contacting me. Fine, that's great. Unless of course they look for this presentation and they will see, okay, this is the trick he was talking about. Well, it will backfire eventually, but at least for now, it will usually work. And be right back. It's a kind of same thing. But combine that with the custom status message to give more details, like when you are coming back or why you are not being disturbed. I saw a great status message for one person during this working from home period. It's like he was writing there that he has his family time from 12 to 3 p.m. So 3 hours reserved for family business, maybe helping kids with school, something like that. And when it's there, they know, okay, he won't be replying. He won't be answering calls in Teams, even if he would be online. And how do you do this? Just go here to your picture and you can set your status, or you can set the status message, and you can even add mention if there's a delegate person. And show it to people who are messaging you. And of course, how long do you want that message to be there? Does it clear out never, so it's persistent? Or does it clear out after a month? Hey, I'm on holidays. I can't, I won't be replying to you just like an email out of the office, but instead please contact the Patrick and he will take care of you. So it's a great thing to have this on the chat messages as well, or when somebody is trying to mention you. It should be default there, but it's not. And of course, mutual leave chats. When you have a lot of chats um, in your teams, they may be meeting chats. The meeting's ended. You don't really need the chat anymore. It was a one-time meeting, and you know you are not getting back there. Then leave it. But at least if there's a long-lasting chats or some chat groups, whatever, mute them. If you don't really want the notifications, you will see there are new messages when you go to chats. And then you can read them. You are not missing that. It's just about when do you react to them. So reduce a bit of that noise and so you have more focus there. But the highlighted do not disturb. That's the best. Of course, you can set the do not disturb and you don't get notifications, you don't get the pop-ups, you don't get calls. So you will have some peace and you can focus on your work. Shortcut is of course the writing D&D to search box. So if I'm here, here's the search box. I can go here and activate the command and write D&D and press enter. Or if you are somewhere else and you notice somebody is, now you are starting to get lots of notifications, Control E, and you are in the search box and D&D, and yes, you are being do not disturb, which is great. Then we are not getting those messages. You will get through the urgent messages, as it says here. And of course, you can combine this with this priority access, and I can show you from here. I have the settings and I have the privacy and I can manage the priority access. I can edit priority access, so I can add people who can bypass my D&D. And why I would want to use this is to have this focused teamwork moment. So if I'm rolling out on deadline, I don't have that much time left. We have to focus, and we can't really get to the other people distracting us. But we 3, 4, 5 people need to be in touch with each other. We just put each other to the priority access, and we can have this focused teamwork effect. So we can call to each other, we can message each other, and we will get the notifications, but the other people won't. When we have done with the rollout, everything's done and clear, dust is settling, then we are, of course, want to remove those guys from the people from the priority access, so we are not they don't have automatic pass. So I don't use that to put like somebody permanently in there. Hey, I want my boss to reach me out any moment. No, I want to have my do not disturb mode, but I can make exceptions and put that for a while there. So consider that again. This is not a static workspace. You can and should change things. And of course, if you don't need it, then you hide it. This is about teams and channels. So you can, people are again complaining, I'm in 100 teams and that's a lot. I usually ask them, okay, do you really work actively on those 100 teams every day, every week? And I haven't gotten a yes answer yet. So you can go to team in here. Let's take that away. And I can choose that if some team is hidden or visible. I have only a few teams visible here, but I have plenty of teams visible here. And so I don't want them to be distracting my focus window. And that same applies to channels. I can hide the channels I don't really need. I can't hide that one, but I can hide that because that was a pinned channel. I will come back to pinned, but I can go ahead and hide the channels I don't need. So from here, I can reduce this list to be something like, okay, this is something I can live with. These are the important teams, and these are the important channels I have. So this is the stuff I'm working with. This is the stuff I'm working with today, or it's the stuff I'm working here this week. And I don't have to be worrying about hiding a team. I can still access it. I can go to the hidden teams. I can check the conversations. I can be mentioned. I can check out the files if they are private teams. So I'm not leaving teams that much I used to at one moment because I'd rather hide them and I can get back to them if I need to. And people don't know about you hiding teams. That's one great example again. But of course, when you are hiding a channel, you are not getting the channel notifications. If you're hiding a team, you're still getting that team notifications. So team notifications are off, but hiding a team, yeah, you're not getting that channel, which is great. I just sometimes go ahead and hide lots of channels before I have the team. But I may have already done that before hiding the team anyway, so I'm only seeing the channels I really need. And as I mentioned already, the other team members, they don't know you have hidden it. So this is a personal setting. You are in control, use that. And now my favorite part is the pinning channel. That's the real game changer. When it came out, it kind of changed the way you can focus on your teams. And as you noticed, you can pin some of the chosen channels on your team list. For example, here I have a few channels pinned. I can't hide these channels, as I already saw. There's no hide button. I have to unpin it first, and then I can hide it. But when the channels are here pinned, I can go ahead and I can arrange these as I wish. Just like I can arrange my teams, but I can't arrange my team's channels here. But the great thing is about when I'm arranging my teams, I can put the most needed ones on top, and I can do the same with the pin channels. And so this is a personal setting again. Nobody else knows how you're doing it, or what do you have pinned, or what do you have hidden. So this is your workspace. This is your team, or teams. So what about if you are being added to the mega project team, and there's huge number of channels, there's 58 channels, but you only need one or two. What I do, I pin the project channel or the few channels I need, and I hide the team. I don't need the rest. I'm only there, for example, to the team's adoption or team's training or coaching part, something that's a very small portion of that project. I'm not in the, or perhaps I'm only visiting there to help out with some specifics. So I don't need to visit every other channel. When it's hidden, I can go to the other channels if I want to, if I need to. But overall, hide the extra channels, hide the extra teams. And using the pin channels, that can really reduce this list a lot. Because you have your most important channels pinned here on top. This is not the ideal example, of course, because I have the same teams here and the same channels here pinned. So this is not a real world example, this is good for demo. And something you can do, again, is that muting notifications. If I have a channel here, and I don't want the notifications from the channel, I can turn it off. And I can still see there's a new message in here, because it's bolded. There's something new on the channel, and I can really easily go through these pin channels and click them open and see what's in there, and it okay, this was that kind of messages, nothing important for me, and I can go here and check out those messages. And I have read everything. So I can go ahead and click through them quite quickly. But of course, when we are pinning channels, let's go to level 25. So let's pin until we can pin no more, and the limit is 25. No surprise there. So yeah, there's lots of limits. You can only pin 25 channels, and but is it a bad or good limit? Well, it's kind of changes the themes partially to channel oriented. So you can, for example, today I'm going to work with these channels or these sub projects, these projects. So you are pinning those channels. Perhaps you use that 5 minutes when you're starting your day and to arrange your team's environment. So you are getting a better experience out of that. But you are arranging still that channel list, so you can drag the most needed channels to the top. And in here, in this case, the pictures stand out. You really need team pictures, because otherwise it's more difficult to find out which team or to which team this channel is attached to. So that's a good practice to share again team pictures. And yeah, teams are useful. You have to really find the balance how you are doing this. And as an example, here's one person with lots of teams, channels at pinned. And yeah, she could arrange this as needed. Today I have these. Okay, this news is more important now. Or actually, I'm doing the community stuff today, so I'm putting this on top. So I can see if there are new messages. The pictures help me to find out, okay, to what this channel is related to. And I have still a list of teams and channels here. So it's really easy and quick to roll back and forth to see if there are new messages. So instead of reacting to activity feed, you are going through and being proactive on these teams and channels. And remember, you can change them hourly, daily. This is your team's environment. Going forward, we still want to take some of the noise out. Well, you are hopefully most likely using the team's mobile as well. So what do you do at the end of the day? Hide your phone in the other room at home, or leave it at the office? Well, not today, or during this quarantine. But how do you manage your mobile teams when you're off work? One of the great things is to use quiet hours. Your team's mobile, open it, go to your picture through the hamburger menu on top left, and go ahead and put on the quiet hours there. You can put the quiet days, so you are not getting the team's notifications through. And this is kind of blocking them. You can still read them, but I use this a lot on short vacations, even longer ones. Sometimes I may have some other teams, like community teams I'm working with, but I don't really want the notifications there. And I do use my mobile phone's do not disturb mode, which can be set automatically. So every evening it goes on just like this quiet hours, a bit later, and during the morning it goes off. And it will block out every notification I have. There are some bypass things, but in essence, I don't want the notifications from the other apps either. So it's much fun, more better to work with mobile phone when you are not getting lots of notification sounds all the time. And of course, taking things further, focus mode in Office 365, which is now available in E3 and E1 as well, and not just E5. It will reserve time from your calendar so you can have more focused work. What it does to Teams, it does the do not disturb. It will automatically set Teams to focusing mode, which is in effect a do not disturb mode. And it will help. So you can go ahead and, because nobody is expecting you to create a focus plan. So you can go to the My Analytics through your Office apps and create that plan. It is not difficult to go ahead and start creating the plan. make more time to focus. From here, I can go ahead and click it, and my focus plan, you are all set already. It's now booking time, and it's showing me which of those are being booked. I can change the plan configuration if I want. All right, I have 5 minutes left. The best practices for teams. So this is a short collection of some of the best practices you should be considering when you are on team level, something you do together as a team. I mentioned about the settings on the team level when we started this. This is one of the good ones is to turn off the at team. So on team level, when a team is provisioned, this could be done automatically during the provisioning. Just put the team level notifications off, so nobody can use the at team. Or at least the normal members can't use them, sorry. So admins, team owners could still be using that, but and it will be easier to control that when those are used. But a channel might be a good idea, so you can still be using that, because everyone can control them by themselves. Of course, you may want to use moderation in selected channels and messages. What this means is that, for example, to this crisis information or news channel, there's the manage channel. And you can put on the channel moderation that and specify who can write to the channel and who can start a post there and if people can reply or not. So you can actually keep the channel very clean, that there's only so-called official messages there. Channels versus tags. There's now possible to create a team level tags, like groups of people. When you are mentioning the tag, you are mentioning everyone in there. It goes through the personal mentioning. And it is good to consider that do you want a channel for something, because when you mention the channel, you don't really know who is following that or who has the channel notifications on. But then again, if you have too many tags and you are using it too much, people might turn off the personal mentions. So be wary and think through before you are using the tags, at least if you are using them a lot. It may be better to advise to use the channel ones. People can pin that channel and they can see that on visibly. But if you need more quicker reactions, then tags might be a good way. And yeah, it creates more noise if it's abused. And when you're writing messages, ask for reactions over replies, so people are not getting notifications from those replies. Hey, you can use heart or thumb up or angry face if depending on some simple questions. Hey, who's going to be joining for the after dinner? Please like this message. Yeah, simple. And of course, you can use the polls, like Polly or FormSpot, for example, to create some polls to get opinions out of people as well. So rather than conversation threads. And finally, the survival tricks back. While going through the notification settings, pinning channels, tidying up your themes and channels with show and hide. These are the first two things you can teach to anyone quite quickly. D&D, of course, is your best friend in a lot of moments. And muting all non-essential chat groups. Yeah, leave meeting chats. Use the mute chat. I'd rather not to use mark and read too much. I instead try to put the important stuff to my to-do, so I have tasks or planner if that's on team level. So I try to do a team box 0, which is kind of inbox 0, but I would go through all these channels that I have visible here and click them through, so I don't have unread messages there. Because when you have a lot of unread messages here, it will be way more difficult to see, okay, where is some of the new stuff. And then you are relying again on the feed, the activity feed. So, and try to use React instead of reply. Yes, I like this instead of writing yes. And Do not send one-liner messages. People tended to do that in Skype for Business, short messages, one message, and instead try to get your topic and context to the one message, like a small email, something like that, and send that to person so they can reply in their own good moment of time, and they have all the information they need for that reply. Use focus plan and quiet hours. And remember, adjust your teams as needed because it's not a static workspace. Thank you for the sponsors, and of course, thank you, audience. You have been great. This was fun.